Something moved at the edge of Lyeth's vision. Not the left edge, not the right. The edge that shouldn't exist for his either eye. The narrow 30-degree blind spot behind their skull, where compound eyes overlapped just enough to leave a seam. Lyeth turned. Nothing. Turned back. There it was again, sliding along the margin of perception like a finger tracing the rim of a glass, and Lyeth's wings folded flat against their back. If you ever stared into empty space and felt it stare back, you know why stories like this stay with you. Come back tomorrow. We'll be here. A week ago, the hardest problem on Lyeth's assignment board had been a filing error in spectral absorption logs, the kind of work that made senior analysts fall asleep on their perching rails. That was before the prismatic court forward at the coordinates. Lyeth had been a prism analyst for 11 days. 11 days of cataloging light signatures and cross-referencing navigational data aboard the observation vessel Iridian, a ship built like a greenhouse turned inside out. Transparent walls let starlight pour through every corridor. Crew members perched on thin rails that crisscrossed the open interior, their wings spread wide to drink in radiation from the local star, a white dwarf whose output painted every surface in cold, clean blue. Lyeth's own wings had been cycling through pale silver for most of the assignment. Calm colors, trainee colors. The senior analyst called it, still learning to glow. Then the order came down. Investigate grid reference 7741. A Terran dreadnought, confirmed present by 4 independent tracking stations 9 days prior, had stopped existing, not destroyed, not departed. The tracking stations still showed it occupying the grid. But when the Iridian arrived and pointed every instrument it carried at the coordinates, the space was empty. Lyeth perched at the forward observation rail and stared through the transparent hull at nothing, which meant the readings were wrong, or the tracking stations were wrong, or the definition of empty was wrong. The crew ran scans, 47 scans. Lyeth counted because counting was the only thing keeping their wings from cycling to black. Each scan returned a different result. The first said the grid was vacant. The second detected residual thermal signatures consistent with a ship that had been there hours ago. The third detected no thermal signatures at all. Scan 19 insisted it had found 3 dreadnoughts. Scan 31 returned data formatted in a language the computer didn't recognize, which shouldn't have been possible since the computer had generated the scan. Senior analyst Korath, perched 2 rails above, let out a sound like paper tearing. Zytherai laughter. Your instruments are being mocked, Korath said, folding one wing over the other in a gesture of resigned amusement. Congratulations. 11 days in, and you found something that thinks your sensors are funny. Lyeth didn't laugh. Their wings had shifted from silver to deep violet, absorbing the dwarf star's output at maximum capacity, a stress response. Every section of their compound eyes was open, scanning the empty grid through the transparent walls, and every section agreed. Nothing was there. But something had left a gift. Floating in the vacuum, spinning slowly in the residual drift of whatever had occupied this space, was a navigation computer, human-built, small enough to hold in 2 hands. Its casing was cracked along one seam, and through the crack, a faint green light pulsed with the steady rhythm of a system still running, still plotting a course to somewhere. Lyeth retrieved it, perched back on the forward rail with the device balanced on the thin metal bar. They opened its interface. 2 destinations, plotted and saved. The first was a known system, charted, catalogued, unremarkable. A supply depot in the Venery corridor that 17 species used for refueling. The second destination was a set of coordinates that pointed to nothing. Not empty space, nothing. Cartographic nothing. The coordinates fell outside every star chart the prismatic court maintained, outside coalition records, outside the navigational databases of all 420 Civ-registered spacefaring civilizations. Lyeth rotated the device on the rail. The green light caught the prismatic refractions bouncing through the Iridian's walls and scattered into something almost beautiful. Almost. Korath leaned down from the upper rail. Where does the second set point? Nowhere, Lyeth said. Nowhere isn't a destination. It is if you built the road yourself. Korath stopped laughing after the 17th minute of analysis. Lyeth had pulled every readable file from the navigation computer, spreading data across the Iridian's shared display while the crew gathered on nearby rails. The device was crude by Zythrai standards, built heavy, built to survive, its interface designed for fingers instead of wingtips. But the information inside it was precise. 2 routes, plotted with gravitational corrections, updated to within the last 30 hours. Someone had been using this computer recently. Someone had left it behind, or let it go, the way a person might leave a door open on purpose. The known destination told them nothing useful. Supply run, fuel purchase, ordinary. The unknown destination told them everything. Lyeth ran the coordinates against deep field telescope archives, against gravitational mapping surveys, against the background radiation charts that the prismatic court had spent 2 centuries assembling. The location existed in physical space. It corresponded to a point in the intergalactic gap between the Venari Arm and the Shelf Nebula, a region so empty that no species had ever found reason to go there. No stars, no stations, no resources worth harvesting, no reason for a dreadnought to visit, and no reason to build a road to a place with nothing at the end of it, unless you put something there first. Lyeth's wings had gone fully black. They didn't notice. Korath noticed. The senior analyst shifted on their rail but said nothing, because the display was now showing something that made Korath's own wings darken at the edges. Then Lyeth's peripheral vision caught movement, not from the display, from outside to the transparent hull in the empty grid they'd scanned 47 times. Something shifted at the boundary of Lyeth's visual field. They turned their head. All 300 degrees of compound vision swept the space. Nothing. They turned back to the display, and the movement returned, skating along the seam of their blind spot like something that knew exactly where the gap was. Lyeth's compound eyes began shutting section by section, involuntary, the Zythrai equivalent of flinching. Because whatever was out there wasn't just hiding. It was threading itself through the narrow margin between detected and undetected, using the physics of observation itself as camouflage. Entangled photon scanning, quantum-paired particles that should have made detection impossible to avoid, couldn't pin it down. This thing wasn't evading their instruments. It was existing in the space between the scan and the result, present and absent at once, collapsing into nothing every time an instrument tried to confirm it. Lyeth understood then what the contradictory scans meant. 47 readings hadn't been wrong. Each one had been right for the fraction of a second it was active, and wrong the instant it stopped. A comm channel opened. Lyeth didn't open it. Nobody on the Iridian opened it. A human voice, unhurried, almost conversational, filled the observation deck. "We don't attack. We've already finished by the time you notice." The channel closed. Korath's wings were black from tip to tip. Every analyst on every rail sat frozen, compound eyes cycling open and shut in staggered patterns, trying to see what couldn't be seen. The space outside the hull offered them nothing, remained empty, remained full, remained both. And now on the forward rail the navigation computer's green light still pulsed. Lyeth picked it up again, turned it over slowly, opened the second destination file one more time and found what they'd missed before. A label buried in the metadata, written in Terran script so small it barely registered. One word: shipyard. Lyeth stared at it. Korath leaned down from the upper rail, read it, and for a long time the only sound was the hum of the Iridian solar collectors and the soft click of compound eye sections opening, closing, opening. "They're not hiding one ship," Korath said quietly. Lyeth held the navigation computer against the rail. Its green light caught the prismatic refractions moving through the Iridian's transparent walls and scattered into a color that didn't belong to any star in the Zythrai archive. Something new. Something that had no name yet. "No," Lyeth said. "They're building where we can't look. So here's my question for you. If you found a door that opened to a place no map had ever named, would you walk through it, or lock it and walk away? Think about that. We'll have another story ready when you are."